Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Today I wanted to pull a couple cards for you guys. I was meditating earlier and journaling, and I was drawn to my Kuan Yin deck, my Kuan Yin Oracle deck. So I believe there may be some messages in here for you guys, for the collective. And then I'm also going to be pulling from my holographic tarot by A.E. Waite. So, and I also have accompanying us selenite, some selenite. And again, let me adjust this a little bit. Again, I'm still playing with angles, so again, you get to see my lovely face, instead of the cards. But I will show you the cards. I'll hold them up for you. But I don't want to delay, so getting started right away. I'm gonna pull, beginning with our Kuan Yin Oracle deck, and see what comes out. Thank you, Spirit. What messages do you have for the collective, for the highest good of all? 2, 3. I pulled cards for myself earlier, and right away, 444 came out. Card 4 and card 44. So if it comes out again for you guys, for the collective, then I'm gonna be shook. Thank you, Spirit. What do you have for the collective? What messages can the collective benefit from today? Thank you. 2 more shuffles. 1. Oops, that wanted to come out. And oh my gosh, that came out. Ah! And then at the bottom of the deck, 41. Oh, 41. I thought it was 44. Okay, so one of the cards that I pulled earlier came out again, and it's number 4, Call of the Dancing Crane. And then you also got Mother of Mercy, which is 19 and reduces to a 10, a 1. Yeah, that reduces to a 1. And then at the bottom of the deck, you got To the Celestial Mountain, which reduces to a 5. Hopefully there's not too much of a glare on my face. I'm not wearing my contacts, so. Okay, so we're gonna see what these ones say. I'm so surprised, but I'm not really, that this one came out again. This one came out for me earlier. And it was actually a beautiful message. It was inspiring, with actionable steps that you can take to help bring in divine guidance. So I'm going to read it for you now. 4. Oh, turn right to it. Call of the Dancing Crane. Dancing crane moves through waters and muddy marsh with elegance and grace. The mating call and dance of the crane is full of beautiful movements and flow. There are times when the astral waters of our emotional life become stagnant and will benefit from the healing movement, grace, and beauty of the dancing crane. The call of the dancing crane is a reminder that sound can be healing too. This is particularly so when your thoughts, beliefs, and emotional patterns do not support you in living the spiritual destiny you were born to live. It kind of reminds me of, when your thoughts become too loud and you're like analysis paralysis. Your thoughts become too loud. You become too caught up in your head and disconnected from your heart, which means unable to receive or be connected to that inner guidance and that inner voice from your higher self within. We all have guides. We all have multiple guides that we come in with, and who change also throughout our timelines, depending on our growth and our needs. So it kind of reminds me of that, of kind of reminds me of that partially. It also reminds me that dancing, like actual physical movement, could help loosen up and move stagnant energy. Physical, like quite literally, movement, regardless of dance, yoga, qigong, tai chi, whatever movement, as long as you're being active, even if it's walking, getting a walk, but intentionally, or task, or I just learned about this recently, and it's probably old to many, but it's new to me, and it's called stacking, like task stacking. So what it means is simply when you're doing something that you normally have to do, like brush your teeth and shower, you can add on a task to that. Like, for example, while I'm in the shower cleansing my body, I'm also doing an energy cleanse and a scan of my chakras and cleansing out those, and using water, using my imagination to visualize the water actually cleansing my energy as well. And brushing your teeth, going through your affirmations, your daily affirmations, while you're already in front of the mirror. You may as well do some mirror work and go through your daily affirmations. So that's kind of like task stacking. It's kind of a tongue twister, task stacking. Also, while you're, I don't know, depending on the type of work that you do, you could task stack. For example, say you work from home. A lot of people work remotely. Maybe you're able to listen to a podcast of something that's going to feed your mind versus listening to the news, which is going to put you in a lower vibrational state. Something that'll lift you up, feed your brain, feed your mind, feed your soul. Something of that nature, listen to. Also, as the card suggests, music. Not just music that gets you in a great mood, changes your energy, uplifts you, but also there's, I did talk about this in a previous reading, using sound for healing. For example, I like to listen to solfeggio frequencies, and there are frequencies at different hertz that connect and interact with different areas of the body and acts as a healing modality. So there's that. Let's see, what else does this say? There are times when the astral waters of our emotional life become stagnant and will benefit from the healing movement, grace, and beauty of the dancing crane. And it's quite literal, using movement and dance, like, again, to rid yourself of stagnant energy. So, and you could do that physically with movement as well as visualization through meditation. Meditation doesn't always mean just lying still and going blank for hours or a set amount of time. That is a form of meditation, yes, and it does help and it has its place, but I'm talking about like different states of consciousness. Like, for example, some of the examples that I gave earlier, like showering and using visualization to cleanse your energy body and clear your chakras, that helps as well. If you want to listen to some other tips as well, take a look at my other video where I talk briefly about using color as well as sound and movement, different modalities of ways to move energy and transmute energy from a lower vibrational state to a higher vibrational state, or more dense energies to a more uplifted, lighter energy. So that's something to think of. Have you ever felt like a different person on holidays or when you are traveling? This is because you are free of the astral gravity that you usually live within on a day-to-day basis. This astral plane is like glue. When we put enough energy of habit into thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and stories from our past that condition how we interpret current life experiences, we can get stuck in astral gravity, unable to let go of the ways of thinking and reacting, even if we really wish to do so. We can create sticky astral thoughts and beliefs that attach to houses, places, and even people. When we are in a different environment, we often have a chance to create fresh habits and beliefs, which is why a holiday or travel can be so refreshing and inspiring. Sometimes, however, that is not practical, and we need healing. We need healing to break through the muddy stagnation of old thoughts and beliefs right now. As we grow spiritually, we can outgrow our astral conditioning, just like sifting mud out of water, so we can move more freely and gracefully like the dancing crane. If we accept healing energy to help us filter through our psychological program so that our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions can create new habits and patterns more aligned with what we would like to experience in our lives. And these filtered energies can become more powerful than old stories about life that no longer support us in living according to our spiritual light. So this continues to be a theme throughout the cards that have been coming out the last couple of readings, and it is in alignment with the astrological energies that are happening and needing to really illuminate some of the darker aspects within ourselves, whether that be self-limiting beliefs, trauma that we're still grieving or dealing with, it's really asking for our attention, and not to just continue to be buried and numbed, numbed down, but to actually feel and sense and sit with these some of these darker aspects and emotions in order to integrate in a healed state or release and let it go. But in order to do any of those things, they need to be acknowledged and felt in order for them to be categorized, for lack of a better term. It's if you think about it though, it's quite literal. So also it's suggesting that if you are able to, it's not practical, it may not be practical for all to just get up and take a vacation right now, but if it is an option, to change your environment for a little bit, get out of that's another way to loosen up stagnant energy, get out of stagnant energy, is to change your location, rather that be take a little vacation or just a quick road trip, just different scenery and something to get a shift in perspective by switching up a routine. Sometimes it's easy to get caught in a rut, stuck in a rut, going throughout your day-to-day life with the same routine. We're naturally creatures of habit, so it's easy for us to do, but it's not always the most beneficial for us when it comes to healing and expressing and creativity and moving stagnant energy. We are in a constant state of change and growing and learning and evolving. So to help be in the flow of that, how we can surrender to it and help that process be more to our benefit and less like something's being taken from us, or less like we're being put through something that's painful for no end. It's kind of like not avoiding the pain, but getting comfortable with it and recognizing it and appreciating it as a part of life, not to romanticize it in any way, but recognizing it as a part of life and knowing that you can't have one state without the other. So it's always going to be there. So avoiding things that are uncomfortable or painful, which is what our mind automatically goes to when we think of change, which equates to the unknown, which can equate to fear. So in order to transmute that energy of fear into a higher vibrational state and higher vibrational energy of joy, excitement, momentum, creativity, flow, it requires some change and some level of comfort with the unknown, and that's pretty much it. So let's move on to the next card, though. I don't want to have too long a video. So let's move on to, that was again number 4, which is about balance, instability, groundedness. Call of the Dancing Crane. All right, next, Mother of Mercy, 19, which is 10, which also reduces to a 1. 19. And I didn't read the whole thing of that one. I just read like some of the key points because they can get kind of long, but it is important to get some of the, I do want to try to extract the important key points, although it's all good. Okay, so just like a sun that shines brightly, casting a strong shadow, your growing spiritual power needs to be expressed with the awareness that it will have an effect on others, even if you are not completely conscious of that effect. To create peace in the expression of your power, we call upon the Mother of Mercy. Mercy tempers great strength and power with kindness, gentleness, compassion, and caring. The divine Kuan Yin brings the quality of mercy to you as a divine gift, encouraging you to cultivate mercy in your dealings with others and to receive it for yourself now too. And again, it's like, I kind of covered this in a previous video as well. It's like being kinder and gentler to yourself and merciful to yourself, so that you can, because how you show up for yourself, you're a reflection, so that's how you show up for others as well. And like it says, whether you know it or not, we're mirrors to each other. So we can be either consciously aware of that and choose to create harmony and balance within our dealings with our relationships, whether it be loving, relationships with our coworkers, our friends, really ourselves. You really need to cultivate, you don't really need to do anything, but it would be beneficial if you're to accept this guidance. It would be beneficial for you to start cultivating within yourself a higher level of love, respect, kindness, patience, grace, so that way you can show up in the world and project that outward, and it has a ripple effect. Okay. Dispensations of mercy come when we are without recourse. We have perhaps lost our way, become unable to find our way through, or have caused some great effect, for better or worse, that we did not intend. It might even be through our own hand that we have caused such a situation without intention or malice. We just proceeded in a certain way because we had not yet learned the wisdom needed to avoid it. So that again reminds me of having grace with yourself and others too, because just like you may have an effect on somebody, whether it be negative or positive, you may have an effect on somebody that you didn't intend to have, but you hadn't learned, you weren't in a space, you hadn't learned that yet. So it's not, you couldn't consciously, you can't act from a place of consciousness to have that level of awareness or effect on somebody. But if you could be more consciously aware of how you're being perceived and how you're projecting, then you can be more aware of the effect that you have on others, and know that not to take anything, because it works both ways. So not to internalize or take anything personally that may be projected onto you from somebody else's unhealed state of being or unknowing state of being, unknowing that they are projecting something negative onto you. So that's something to keep in mind as well, as far as protecting yourself from unwanted negative energies, from picking up on negative unwanted energies. You don't really want to allow, naturally we're empathic beings, and some of us more sensitive than others, but we're connected. So it's important to protect yourself from negative forces and influences and things that aren't intended for you. Somebody could be having a bad day and say something to you and it hit you wrong and jack up your whole day if you let it. And then you're going and jacking up somebody else. You're operating from that state then forward. It's like protecting yourself in order to be consciously aware of your emotions and what's affecting you and what you allow to affect you and what you protect yourself from as that's not mine. Let it bounce off and keep it pushing. It's like having a mental shield. Okay, so okay. Divine mercy from the Heavenly Mother brings us to a place where we can stop the cycle of manipulation or being manipulated, of unkindness or unconsciousness. So it really is what I just said. It's that also protects you from being manipulated and being aware of when you're being manipulated. Sometimes we're not always aware of when we're being manipulated, but when you're present and when you're present, you're able to perceive a lot more and understand the state that you're in, and maybe even more also the state that somebody else is in, and you can then protect yourself from that state when dealing with any interactions. Okay, moving on to the next one. That was Mother of Mercy, number 1. 1 is holds the energy of beginnings, newness, beginnings. Sure. All right. The next one, last but not least, we have 41. To the Celestial Mountain. Let's see what that one says. I've had this deck for quite a while, but I can count on one hand how many times I've used it. So I'm actually I'm excited to be seeing some of these images. They're very beautiful. There's a little bit about the author in it, and I love Chinese culture, so it's cool to bust it out and see like the images. These are all new to me because I've only used it a handful of times. So it's beautiful to see some of the images and hear some of these messages. Some things just hit differently depending on the oracle or the tarot deck, because the images speak. Okay, to the Celestial Mountain, what does that mean? There are times when divine energy is needed to help us achieve our spiritual goals. When you do not feel completely in control of your destiny, the divine is usually gifting you with an opportunity to reach for assistance and to invoke divine power to call to the celestial mountain so that you might be gifted with a far superior outcome. Your permission to beings that love you unconditionally to offer you help is an expression of self-empowerment. You empower those forces to come to your aid and help you manifest your life purpose and destiny. Again, we are not alone. I don't know who needs to hear that, but you're not alone. Not only do you have, people in the physical around you, and even if you don't, you have guides, you have guidance that you've come in here with, and we have free will. So our guides can do just that, guide us, through synchronicities, opportunities, sudden sparks of inspiration. However, guidance is a lot more hands-on if we ask for it. Because we have free will, we have to sometimes invite these energies in and ask for guidance. That's why prayer works. That's why affirmations work. That's why speaking out loud and journaling actually help, because you typically get, at least for me, in my experience, I love to journal because it helps me, especially when I have a busy mind, it helps me to have some mental clarity, and get some of those thoughts out of my head to bring in space in order to receive that inner guidance. And sometimes, as in the form of automatic writing, the guidance will come to me, usually immediately. So sometimes it's just a matter of clearing the space needed in order to get the information that you need. But you know that you're never alone. You always have guidance, and sometimes our guides will even guide us to people who can give us that physical connection that we need, because you may not be in a space or in a mind space to connect with your inner guidance or even know how to do that. But I would suggest cultivating that as well, and getting used to that as well too, because that is a powerful resource to you and for you, and can help you navigate clearly throughout this life and heal past wounds and that you've come in with, and wounds that you've accumulated. They can help you to release those things, release those wounds, and help to heal you. So there's that. And that's let me just see if there's anything else to get from this that's pertinent. Okay. So do not believe that asking for help means that you will grow weak or dependent and not grow spiritually. You are doing this to grow in your own mastery at a soul level, not to hand over your life and not take personal and spiritual responsibility for it anymore. Asking for spiritual assistance helps you grow in trust, wisdom, and understanding of the nature of the universe and how it operates. So not only connecting with your inner guidance and your guidance all around, it actually opens you up to higher truths and higher information, higher levels of understanding and information as you navigate through this life, and closer even to your life's path's purpose, why you even chose to incarnate here at this time. So that's the message. Thank you, Spirit. It was a beautiful message, and I think anyone could benefit from that. I think that applies to everyone, including myself. I'm part of this collective as well. So again, if you like this oracle, which I do, I think it's really beautiful. It's kind of soft and underspoken on the cover. It has a soft energy to it, but the images are absolutely gorgeous. I believe the artist uses oil to give you a look at some of these. Uses oil. Gates of heaven. Why does it look like the gates of hell, yo? I'm kidding. All right, so do we want to pull tarot? Maybe, let's see if, yeah, and I feel like this deck, this tarot that it shows is completely appropriate too to go along with our oracle. It also has a soft, feminine, pearlescent, moony feel to it. All right, thank you, Spirit. Do you have any energy? What energy for the collective, for their highest good? Let's see what comes out. One card, maybe. Ooh. Ah, perfect. High Priestess came out, y'all. Look at that. The High Priestess. The High Priestess is all about your inner knowing, inner guidance, and trusting that inner guidance, trusting that intuition, connecting with your intuition, and cultivating a stronger sense of it. The High Priestess is very much so mystical, knowing of the occult, hidden truths, and not necessarily speaking of it. It's an inner knowing. It's something that's inside of you. It's something that's inside of us all. With these two pillars here, it also hints at emotional balance, and it falls along the something we touched on a little bit earlier. I'm not sure if it was in an earlier video or mentioning it here, but having to do with balancing out the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, and integrating those darker, shining a light on and looking at and facing and feeling some of those darker aspects within ourselves in order to integrate and or release what no longer serves, or integrate them. So it's recognizing the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, and having that balance as well. And again, the High Priestess is 2. 2 is a number of balance. So, sorry, I had something in my mouth. Still have my matcha. So anyway, this is perfectly aligned with our whole message. So thank you, Spirit, for providing these messages for the collective. I hope this helps. I hope you've found something here. I trust that if this message did find you, then it was meant to find you. If you like the way I read, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to comment in the comments how it did resonate with you, what resonated with you, if it did, and any thoughts or ways you could share with others that have helped you to heal, any modalities or any healing modalities or spaces that you currently use or are thinking about using or incorporating. Everything, we're a community here. It's a fairly new channel, but what I'm creating here is a community. So, and we're all in service to each other. So with that being said, I'm gonna leave you there. Keep on rising. All right, love you all. Bye.